Today I thought I'd tell you how to ferment some pepperoncinis. If you've ever gone to a particular Italian restaurant and loved the pepperoncini peppers that are on salads, you can do that at home too. So I picked some pepperoncini peppers that we have in the garden and I shoved them in this jar, but first what I did was took a little knife and I poked a couple of holes in these little peppers and then I put them right in the jar. And then what you need to do from here on out is really, really easy. On the stove, I put in a cup of water and a cup of apple cider vinegar, 2 teaspoons of sugar, and a tablespoon of salt. And I brought that to a boil and then just turned it off and let it set. Now, inside this jar, after you shove, and don't be shy, shove the peppers in there. As best as you can, and then you will put in a 1/4 teaspoon of coriander seed, which I already did, and then a 1/4 teaspoon of black peppercorns, and then you'll put in a bay leaf, and then also a clove of garlic. And what I like to do with the garlic is cut off the end that is attached to the middle of the garlic, and then I take my knife, it's a flat knife, and I just kind of manhandle it there, and it makes the skins really easy to come off. And then just put that in the top as well. And then I have these little items that I use to ferment. We've talked about these before. These little pickled pebbles, they're called. They kind of look like a hockey puck, and you can put them in there after you pour in the brine. I will pour in the brine and show you what I do here, and then show you some other things. Ooh, that's really hot. And also I want to show you what I do with the extra brine too. The amount of brine, the solution that I told you, should fill up this jar, but it might not. Nope, it did. Love it when that happens. But there have been times when I've had a little bit extra. If I did a few jars that I wasn't sure how much to make, and so maybe I doubled the brine recipe or tripled it. And when I have leftovers, I just put it in a little container, and I put a label on top so I remember what's in there, and it just says brine for peppers, and I put it in there and I keep it in the fridge so that if we need a little bit to top that off, I'm all set. But anyways, put the little pickle pebbles on top and kind of jam it down. Hopefully it won't overflow. And we're good. And then take one of these pickle pipes, put it on top. Oh, I forgot. Ah, got one. A band to put around the lid at the top. And then what I like to do, I'll show you what I've got. I've got one over here that's already done. Well, it's still working, but I put a little piece of tape on the top saying what date I processed it. And then it usually takes 3 or 4 weeks of fermenting, and I just leave them on my counter. And I put the dates, you know, date 1, date week 2, week 3, and I write them on there, and after I check them, I put an X on them. Usually it's 3 to 4 weeks, but it could be ready as early as 2 weeks. So I did that, and then just to show you some ones that I already did too, after they're fermented, we have been putting these plastic lids on because the moisture in the humidity in the root cellar, we cannot put metal down there because it'll rust and mold and stuff. But the items that you ferment, you have to make sure that you put in the refrigerator or a root cellar because they're not canned items. So make sure that you get them put away, and I again put a date on the top with tape so I know what's in there. I think they sell cute little labels, but I guess I'm too cheap to do this. But I guess that's about it. Here's what the little plastic lids look like. That's a big one, there's a little one there. And after they're all fermented, I take off this lid, put on this lid instead, and then we can store it. Thank you for checking in with Green Shire Homestead.